Shalom, welcome back. This last week, there was a trial held regarding the person who killed the 11 people in Pittsburgh at the Tree of Life Synagogue there, which was the worst mass murder of Jews in this country in history. And this person, I don't know if you call him a person, this monster, was sentenced. He was convicted of these crimes. He didn't deny it. In fact, the last few years, he's been proud of it, and he's been boasting to his cellmates and to others he wishes he killed more. So he was convicted this last week, and the question comes up about his sentence, what's going to be. Is he going to be executed, or is he going to be sentenced to life in prison? I don't know which is worse in many respects. In any case, the deliberations took place on two levels, the federal level and the state level. The federal level, it's most likely he will not get the death penalty because there is a moratorium pretty much federally, and people just aren't executed federally. But at the state level, it's very likely that he could be subject to the death penalty. In fact, it came out recently that the state will ask for the death penalty for this person. And people are asking, is it fair, is it proper for him to receive the death penalty? After all, maybe he was mentally ill, schizophrenic. Perhaps he was hearing voices. Maybe he didn't have control over his actions. So there's become a large debate recently, as it has many times, about the death penalty, about capital punishment. Should we do it or shouldn't we do it? Even those people who believe that a person should forfeit their life if they take somebody else's life question whether we should have it altogether, because innocent people possibly could be executed. There could be a mistake in the justice system, and that's a possibility, and it is a real possibility. So the question comes up, what does Judaism say about capital punishment? Well, clearly, the Torah is in favor of capital punishment. And there are many stages, various things that we can be subject to capital punishment. There are various forms of capital punishment that the Torah prescribes four different types of capital punishment. Capital punishment in Judaism is restricted, however, to only under certain circumstances. For example, the witnesses have to actually have seen the crime. We do not accept circumstantial evidence. If they saw a man going into an alleyway with a knife, and there was a scream, and then there was a dead body found in the alleyway, and the person runs out with a knife full of blood, that's not considered grounds to execute someone. Although even today you could say that perhaps the blood can be traced to the person's DNA. Nevertheless, it's not grounds for capital punishment. They have to have seen the crime. They have had to have warned him several times and specify what the punishment would be if he does this act. And then if he does that act, and there need to be two witnesses who have seen it. So it's very rare for a person to be executed in Jewish law. Very, very rare. In fact, the Talmud tells us that a person who is executed once in 7 years is considered a murderous court and should be disbanded. Some say once in 70 years, the court should be disbanded as a murderous court. So nevertheless, what is the Jewish view? In fact, the victims of the tragedy in Pittsburgh were asked if they're in favor of capital punishment for this fellow, if he should be executed, and they were split on that. Some believed he should be, and some believed he shouldn't be. So it's a very difficult question. It's a very hard question for us to ask. And certainly we are continuing the debate, and we will continue debate for a long time to come. In this week's Torah portion, we read about the cities of refuge, how Moshe set up 6 cities, 3 on the east side of the Jordan and 3 on the west side of the Jordan. Later there were to be much more. When the Jews came into the land of Israel, there would be many more of them. And these were cities that were designated. These were cities of Levites. They were Levi cities. And a person who killed by accident, not intentionally, could flee from the Goel Hadam, from the accusers, for the avengers. They could flee to these cities, and they would be safe from any avengers in the city. The city needed to provide this person with his basic needs, his food and his clothing and place to live. So he had a pretty good life over there. And he was free from any revenge from anyone that was coming to get him. In fact, that we are told that if there was no avenger, this court had to appoint one. Nevertheless, he stayed there until the high priest, the Kohen Gadol, died, or until the king died, and then he was free to leave. And we are told that the mother of the Kohen Gadol would provide food for him while he was there. And why was that? Because she was afraid that he would be praying for her son's death, because he wanted to be free. So in order for him not to pray for the son's death, she would provide food for him, and he would be in a better state in that regard. So it's a very difficult situation. It's a very hard thing to imagine. And nevertheless, each of us has our own opinions about it, and we can leave it at that. Candlelighting tonight in San Diego is at 7:40 p.m. And we're coming up this coming Sunday. We're having a picnic at the synagogue. We are selling hot dogs and hamburgers, and we'll be having a moon bounce for the kids and bubbles and all kinds of other things. Should be a lot of fun, starting at 4 o'clock at the Chabad of University City. We encourage you all to come. Bring your families along with you. No reservations are needed. Just come. On July the 29th, which is Shabbos and Nachmu, the Shabbos after Tisha B'Av, in 2 weeks, we are having a Shabbaton with Rabbi David Toledano from Los Angeles, who will be speaking 3 times during Shabbos. Friday night at dinner, we're having a dinner for the community, and Shabbos day, twice he's speaking during the day, once after lunch, and once before the conclusion of Shabbos. The only charge is Friday night. You can do that by going online to ChabadUC.org/dinner, and you can reserve that way or give us a call, and we'd love to have you. Also on August the 27th, we're having Rabbi Gershon Schusterman, who just wrote a book recently called Why God Why, in which he discusses what it went through for him, experiencing a terrible tragedy in his life with the death of his wife. And he explores that in the book. It's becoming very popular, the book. A lot of people are turning to it for solace and guidance and comfort. He's been traveling all over the world speaking, and he'll be speaking here at the 7:30 on Sunday night, August the 27th, at the Chabad Center of University City. And we'd encourage you to come. I want to wish you all a very good Shabbos.